Now if we go back to where we did not have the window into the future showing, we can see that again the predictor box is showing tomorrow's Masuda Ashi, the short-term Masuda Ashi real body color as likely being pink, even though today's closing Masuda Ashi real body was blue. Just to reiterate, this is the window into the future, or what we call 4D, the fourth dimension of time, looking ahead in time. Most charts only focus on the past. The Masuda Ashi system is quite unique in that it has this inbuilt trend gauging predictor to get an idea of where the trend is heading. This is not a prediction of share prices. This is a prediction of Masuda Ashi real body colors and energy. Well, that's okay, but how could we work that out, that tomorrow's closing, sorry, not closing, tomorrow's real body Masuda Ashi is likely to be pink without using the window into the future, just using the predictor line group that we have? You might be thinking, well, you've got a white line as today's basis line, the reference point, the red line for 3 days ago, the green line for 25 days ago, and the yellow line for 75 days ago. These are all kind of past, like historical lines. How do they help you predict the future? Well, it comes back to how we construct Masuda Ashi real bodies in the first place, and we looked at that in an earlier lesson. And so I won't go into it in detail right now, but we can we'll cover that again as a refresher at some point in the future. For now, just keep in mind that even though these are referring to historical prices, that they are very important as the basis for the predictor line group in being able to gauge future Masuda Ashi real body colors and expected energy. Let's just focus our discussion right now on the short-term 3-day Masuda Ashi line. So we're talking about the 3-day line. This means that the key predictor line that we'll be focusing on is the red line. Okay, now as of today, the closing price C here was 1018, and the closing price 3 days ago was 1050. That is this line here. So you can see today's closing price was lower than the closing price 3 days ago. If we move one place to the right, now this is into the future. The window into the future values are showing, but please disregard that for the moment. We already know that the expected Masuda Ashi real body color is pink. Let's try and work it out now without looking at the window into the future. There's no prediction of tomorrow's share price, okay? There is no prediction of tomorrow's share price. There is a share price showing here, but this is from August 24, which is today's closing price. If we go back, you can see August 24 here, which is actually today's date, 1018 for the closing. When we go here, that is just showing here as a reference, 1018 being the most recent closing price that we have. We've moved the reference point, the white basis line, out 1 day into the future. So this is this is tomorrow, but we are looking at it as if it is today to try and gauge whether after the market closes, whether the Masuda Ashi real body for this particular day will be pink or whether it will be blue. And if we look at the red line from 3 days ago, we can see that the closing price 3 days ago, based on this white line which we've pushed forward 1 day to be tomorrow, is 1004. Now today's closing price was as of August 24 is 1018. Now 1018 is actually higher than 1014. Now this is not to say that tomorrow's closing price will be 1018 and therefore it will be higher than the red line closing price figure given here of 1004, but if we consider that if the share price does stay above 1004, then the Masuda Ashi real body will be pink tomorrow if it is above 1004. Now this has to do with how we construct the Masuda Ashi real bodies, and please refer back to the video lesson on how to construct Masuda Ashi real bodies, and also look in the text on the website for more information. Effectively, it comes down to when you have today's Masuda Ashi price and yesterday's Masuda Ashi price. Today's 3-day Masuda Ashi price is the average of the 3 previous closing prices including today, and yesterday's Masuda Ashi price is the average of the 3 closing prices up to and including yesterday. And if you write that out on paper, you'll see that the middle 2 prices are the same in both calculations. The only difference is in the oldest closing price and the newest closing price. So the middle 2 prices are the same for both calculations, and that is why when we're looking at the oldest price and the newest price, or the expected newest price, not an absolute price, but whether it's going to be higher or lower than the oldest price in the calculation, that is how we come to gauge whether or not we expect tomorrow's Masuda Ashi price to be pink or blue. And in this case, there's a good chance, well, it's probable, I'm not saying absolute, that the share price could come in above 1004 as of tomorrow, which would then mean the Masuda Ashi real body color would be pink. I know that's all very confusing, and my explanation's probably not the best. I'll try and listen to this again later and develop some kind of process where this can be explained much more easily. I know when I first encountered the predictor line group that it was considerably challenging on my brain cells. However, having become used to it and understanding the calculation behind the predictor line group, and knowing that it has been studied extensively and empirically tested, that it is all logical, it's all based on quite simple mathematics and probabilities, and so it's quite a robust model and very interesting, and I think the more you explore it, the more you'll be intrigued by it. And ultimately it's designed to help traders and investors, especially individuals and private traders, private retail individual investors, compete with the professionals in terms of having some very robust tools to aid in your trading and investment decision making. One other point before we close off this lesson, I'll just reset this to bring it back to today. Now, if you look at the closing share price 1018, this up arrow means up versus the previous day. So the share price closed up 21 yen from the previous day, yet today's Masuda Ashi real body is blue. Now that's perfectly fine. What you should also understand is that the change from the previous day, whether it is up or whether it is down, is not the reason why the Masuda Ashi real body color will be pink or blue. As I just briefly touched on, talking about the calculation of today's Masuda Ashi price and yesterday's Masuda Ashi price, each of those calculations involves an average of 3 days worth of closing prices. So it is not just based on what happened in the last day. You also have 2 other days prior, and in the case of yesterday's MASUDA ASI price, it goes 1 day back further. So the most recent change on the previous day, whether it's up or whether it's down, is not the factor that determines the color of today's MASUDA ASI real body value. Just bear that in mind as well. And one other point, just to reiterate, when we are looking at the window into the future, although we have 7 days worth of predicted MASUDA ASI real bodies here, it's not important to really look out beyond more than the first or second predicted days, because we can't predict the future. This is only an indication of where the trend is likely to go based on the MASUDA ASI chart calculations and principles. And whatever happens tomorrow, that will again change the playing field for what is expected to happen the next day. So we will only know what tomorrow is when we get to tomorrow, and everything else will be based on that as our new reference point. So do not get overly concerned with looking beyond right down to the end of the 7 days and thinking, oh well, the stock's going to go up, so I want to buy now, or anything like that. That's the wrong way to look at this. Just keep in mind that tomorrow's probability of this MASUDA ASI real body color being pink or being blue, the prediction is about 80% accurate based on empirical testing, and that's a pretty good probability when you're dealing in the world of investments. And again, we're not predicting the share price, nobody can do that, we're just looking at the trend. This is particularly helpful, as is the predictor line group, in trying to determine turning points and where the trend will likely change. That is the main reason for these kind of tools. Anyway, it's got this lesson has turned out to be rather long, so I'll cut off here, and we'll continue with the rest of the predictor line group discussion in part 2, which is going to be lesson 13. Thank you for listening this far. See you in the next lesson. Bye.